I hear this complaint when it comes to deployment of officers. Last summer, there was a mass shooting on the Northeast side, and some of the residents there felt like the response was delayed, and they were frustrated that when they go downtown, they go to Greektown, they see, police officers all over the place, on every
Right.
block, and they don't see that same level of deployment in their neighborhoods. Do you think that should be adjusted? Would you like to redirect some of that
Well,
police resource downtown out into the neighborhoods?
it depends. And I mean, I understand the complaint, and I'm gonna give you another great example because I think this will resonate with your viewers. Um, so there were two things that a gruffy 25 plus year veteran of the police department told me just before being sworn in. I said, "What things can I do for you as your chief?" And he said, "Fire everybody that is at the rank of it was then inspector and above, and can we be cops again?
What does he mean by that?
Can we be cops again?"
Yeah.
I was as curious as you. I said, "You're a cop now." He said, "We can't do police work. We're not encouraged." And it's a nuanced response. I understand it. I mean, the morale was down. They were being nitpicked through the federal oversight. So the police officers felt they couldn't do their jobs. And I agree. That's why I shifted the focus onto management and not on the cops, because management was one sitting back with their feet up and they weren't being sanctioned. Look, if you have a station that is habitually not adhering to the mandates, you're the problem, my friend.
Mhm.
And I'm going to get someone else to run this station. But again, going back to that whole thing of morale and how people are treated, those police officers knew I cared about them and supported them. And when I say that, it doesn't translate into looking the other way when there's police misconduct, because people know equally I was very assertive and public, very transparent on addressing those issues. It's good for the community to know, and it's good for the many good cops to know that the chief set a tone of, doing it the right way.
Yeah. Since we've been talking about green light, I think one of the more notable aspects of your tenure as chief was the expansion of police surveillance tools that has continued
Yes.
since you left. And I've heard, you gave a few examples. I've heard a lot of examples from police officers about how those tools have helped them solve cases and prevent situations from happening.
Right.
It's also got the city in trouble a couple of times with facial recognition software
I was
misidentifying
I
people.
was on the front end of that, and certainly this program would probably not allow me to talk as much as I need to about it, because one thing we did to offset some of the criticism is to really bring people into our real-time crime center
Mhm.
and educate them on what is facial recognition. It's no different than a mug book. That's the old antiquated way we used to do. We'd have a victim come in and we go through pages and pages, pictures, and were they misidentifications? Absolutely. Could we rely on that identification as a reason to solely uh, seek charges with the prosecutor's office? No. Could we rely on a facial recognition to do it? No, not alone. It's a tool. And once I brought individual different groups in, most notable Rashida Tlaib, who was aggressively opposed. And so we brought her in. It was a very interested encounter,
Mhm.
as you may recall.
I remember
But
reading the coverage at the time. Yeah.
it went a long way. And certainly if the technology was abused or misused, uh, individuals who misuse it would be sanctioned.
Yeah.
Zero
I ask
tolerance.
about it because there's been a few legal settlements that the city has had to pay out over people being falsely arrested as a
Right.
result of this
And we put
technology.
safeguards in place. And one of them is the tiered system of certainly accountability up to the rank of a supervisor, so that there wouldn't be mistakes or reduce. And we were very public about that. Uh, and certainly in anything, whether it's a forced situation, uh, sometimes there will be mistakes, intentional or unintentional. And depending on if they're intentional, then certainly it could result in being terminated or even criminally charged. But I want to get back to something before we get off, because I don't want your viewers to think that I didn't fully answer the question, because it's an important one. And this is about resource deployment.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about, well, all the resources are downtown, but there was a big event that happened in my neighborhood and the police took forever to get there.
Yeah.
Well, that shouldn't happen. Again, we put a great deal of focus on responding to crisis in a timely way. And so hearing a complaint like that, I'm not discounting it. Those are the kind of complaints I would want to know personally what happened,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can, in a timely way, go back to the community member